Hi, ericgimbal.com, and today the tips for December 2016. Let's start. Today I have Claudia behind the camera who is waving at us with the zoom. My nephew Alexander monitoring the sound, and Sarai is there watching us and making sure everything is going fine. Well, actually, she's just playing with a mobile phone, actually. Okay, so let's start. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/ericgimbal, my website, ericgimbal.com. If you have any question, you can send me an email to info@ericgimbal.com. Let's start with tip number 1. This month, Christmas month, I'm going to concentrate on Christmas tips. I think it was logical. So let's start with tip number 1. When we speak about Christmas, we speak about Christmas tree. So very often we want to make a picture of a family member or friend in front of the Christmas tree. And after Christmas, you check your pictures, and what you see is that you have a really neat, focused, perfect Christmas tree, and a friend who is just out of focus. So what is the problem? Well, simply when you have decided to reframe your picture in third, probably your autofocus jumped to the tree and was not on your friend or family member at this time. So how to avoid this? Well, there are several ways to do it. One way is to do it manually. You put your focus in manual, and then you just make sure the person in front of the tree is in focus, and then you can actually reframe, and then it does not matter anything, because the distance between your camera and this person is always the same one, so there is no problem. Second option, you should, if you still want to use autofocus, you should deactivate the continuous focusing. Why? Because your camera may mix up and think that your friend is actually the tree. So when you do continuous focusing, when you're going to reframe, your autofocus is going to jump to the tree and not your friend anymore. So that's probably the problem. So you should do it on like a Canon that says one shot, or a Nikon that says single focusing, or something like this. So this way, when you actually decide to fire on your friend, you hear toot, and then although you reframe, then the point of focus will still be the same. The distance won't change, and your friend will still be in focus. Third way to do it is modern or recent cameras. They have a face detection. So this way, if you do face detection, although you're going to reframe, the autofocus will always stay on the face of the person who is in front of the Christmas tree. The problem is, if there are more than one person, make sure they all are at the same distance, because otherwise it could jump to the person who is more in the back or more in the front, and this way that important person for your picture won't be as in focus as you thought. Okay, so for Christmas tree, make sure that your friend is in focus and not actually just a tree. Very often people ask me about fireworks, so I'm going to tell you a few tips about fireworks. First of all, switch off your flash. Very often I see people making fireworks picture with a flash, and think that a flash unit is okay for up to 3-4 meters at the most. So obviously a firework that is at like 100 meters, it's not going to be lighted by a flash unit. So you should switch it off. Second, you have two options. One, to do everything manually, or maybe your camera has some scene option with the firework option. In both cases, you will need a tripod, or you will need something to rest your camera on it, because the time it takes to make the picture with the firework is too long to be holding in your hand the camera. Okay, so in case you do it manually, you should put your ISO on 100-200 ISO, which is the minimum your camera let you put, Second, the time. Normally you should have a time from 3 to 10 seconds. Around 4 to 5 should be enough, but you must give time enough for the firework to develop, and otherwise if it's too short you will have a small dot, but it won't look like coordinated. It will look like some stain of light in the sky. What you actually want to see is the whole thing moving like this. Okay, so it should be long enough. And second, and then you have a problem with focusing. Your autofocus in the night will not be able to focus. And although the problem is that although it could, until the fireworks is not exploding, it would not know where to do it. So you should do manual focusing, and this way you actually put to infinity, and when the fireworks explodes, then you will be in focus always. And last, the aperture is very important. The normal is around f11. This way you have enough depth of field. The light is normal. I mean, taking into account that the light of a firework is really powerful, more powerful than we think. Okay, so with f11 the exposure should be fine. And when should you fire? Normally you should fire when you see the rocket coming out, because this way the time you react and the rocket explodes, then you will normally get the full firework. Okay, so these are the tip. This is the tip for the firework pictures, and I think New Year's Eve is the best time to practice. Make sure you're in a place where there are more than 1 or 2 rockets, otherwise you will have just 1 or 2 opportunities. Yeah, I was going to forget. If you have noise reduction switched on your camera, it will make a second picture after you fire. If you make like a 5-second picture, then it will be it will make a 5-second black picture just afterwards to erase the noise on your picture. So the problem is, if you have this activated, you may lose some fireworks explosion. So you have to decide whether you accept to have noise in your picture and don't miss any shoot, or otherwise what you can do is leave the noise reduction on, and then know that some fire you will be missing. Okay, when we speak about Christmas, we speak about small lights, we speak about candles, and very often when we make a picture with like your table and you have lots of small candles, you will see that there is like echo, that you see the candle several times in your picture. And very often people think this is your camera is faulty, and this is not actually the problem. Most of the time this is a filter problem that you have on your lens. Like if you have a filter here, okay, this is a filter. It's a hand for me, but it's a filter for you. Okay, the light comes in like this, and then it goes into the camera. But if this filter is not too good, there is always, here's the first lens on your lens. Okay, so some of the light will bounce on the front lens, and then will bounce back on the back of the filter, because very often it's not anti-reflection on the back side of the filter. So it will enter again into the camera, bounce again, bounce, 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 bounce. So this way you see actually the candle several times. So very often with removing the filter, it will be enough to erase this problem, and you will see just one candle, not just a candle and then one that is a bit with less, not as powerful, and another one less powerful, and so on. Okay, so the first thing to do is to remove your filter. In case you have a cheap lens, it may happen also because the inside lenses are not properly coated against reflection. So this way you will see the candle several times. And I'm afraid that in this case there is nothing you can do about it apart from removing it in post-process in your computer. But normally removing your filter will solve this problem. When we speak about Christmas, we speak about family, and when we say family and friends, we say group photography. And the big problem about group photography is the depth of field. Very often you will put several lines of people, and then the front line will be in focus and the back line won't be in focus. Why? Basically because your depth of field is not long enough, deep enough. Okay, so the best thing to do is to make sure you close your aperture as much as you can. So like f11, f8, f16, and so everyone is in focus. The problem is when you do this, you lose a lot of light. So you would actually need some extra lighting, like a flash unit, but it's not always easy to use because you will have other problems if you use flash units. So I'm not going to get into this. So what I would say is always try to be in the part of the house where there is most light. Make sure that everyone receives the same amount of light, and you will have to put your ISO quite a bit higher. So this way you can actually close the aperture and still have enough light to make your picture. Okay, or you go on the street if it's daytime, but make sure that you have enough depth of field, closing your lens, your aperture, so everyone is in focus. When we speak about Christmas, we speak about kids, we speak about gifts, and if we speak about gifts and kids, we speak about making a picture of both of them together. What's the problem? Is that very often the parents grab their camera and the kid is on the floor, and they look like small ants or small cockroaches because they're just flat on the floor, and your adult height, and you're just making the picture like this, and the kid is like flat on the floor with his gift. Okay, so the best way to give to have more powerful picture with kids is you go on the floor, you get to the same height as they have, and you can actually use a wider angle, so the gift looks a bit larger, and the kid is like you see the picture is more gives more life to the picture. So very often you will have to kneel down or even lean flat on the floor and then make the picture at the same height or even lower than the kid. So this way your children will look more powerful, and when they see the picture they will actually remember what they actually lived themselves, not what you live yourself when you see them from the top. So this way you will make them more like a person enjoying Christmas and opening gifts. Okay, so it's very often it's very important. Get down and get to the height of the kids when they open their gifts. Well, these were my tips for December 2016. Thank you to Claudia, who is behind the camera. She's waving goodbye right now. Alexander is at the sound monitoring. Sarah is watching us and smiling right now because I wave her. Okay, so don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/ericgibaud. If you have any question, don't forget to send me an email to info@ericgibaud.com. My website, ericgibaud.com. My Facebook, facebook.com/ericgibaud photo, Instagram ericgibaud, Twitter ericgibaud, Google plus ericgibaud. I think that's it. Thank you very much and see you soon.